Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are stepping into the incredibly rewarding, but let's be honest, pretty high-stakes world of DIY solar installations. We're going to be mastering DC solar wiring by looking at 3 absolutely non-negotiable rules for success. And we're pulling this directly from a really comprehensive step-by-step guide by InfoGuide NG. So if you've ever dreamed of harnessing the sun, powering your home off the grid, and most importantly, getting it right the very first time, you are in the exact right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. Are you wiring your solar system to fail? Because, the harsh reality of solar power is exactly this. You can go out and buy the absolute best panels on the market, the most expensive deep cycle batteries, and the highest-end charge controllers out there. But if your underlying wiring is fundamentally flawed, well, your entire investment becomes essentially worthless. A bad installation means the system simply won't provide the reliable energy you paid for.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by identifying the DC wiring trap. Then, we'll move right into Rule 1, individual wiring, followed by Rule 2, copper is king, and Rule 3, centralize your hub. Finally, we'll wrap it all up with powering your solar future.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the DC wiring trap.
The fatal trap is exactly this. Assuming that your brand new DC solar wiring is going to function exactly like the standard AC home wiring that's already sitting inside your walls. I get it. It's incredibly tempting to just take your new 12-volt or 24-volt DC setup and map it right onto the established logic of standard house wiring. But as our source material explicitly warns us, treating these two highly distinct electrical systems as if they're the same thing is an absolute, guaranteed recipe for failure.
When you fall into that trap, specifically by doing what you'd normally do in an AC setup and trying to use a single thick wire to supply multiple items, you trigger what's essentially a nightmare scenario for any solar enthusiast. By daisy-chaining devices, you are definitely going to experience wild voltage fluctuations. You might literally see dangerous sparking at your connection points. You'll suffer massive ampere loss, and what does that actually look like when you're just sitting in your living room? It looks like hopelessly dim lights and slow, weak fans that barely move the air. It just completely ruins the whole off-grid experience.
So, how do we fix that? Let's move to Section 2. Rule 1, individual wiring. And this brilliantly illustrates the core difference. In standard AC wiring, like the stuff in your house right now, you often use a common neutral wire that snakes continuously throughout the whole building. That means only one active wire really returns from each appliance. But with DC wiring, it's a totally different ballgame. You are absolutely required to run 2 separate, dedicated wires, a positive and a negative from every single appliance directly back to the power source. Whether it's a light bulb, a ceiling fan, or an air cooler, it gets its own dedicated pair. Literally, no sharing allowed.
Now, once those dedicated individual wires leave your appliance, they need a very specific destination, which we define as the connection point. Typically, you're running these twin wires directly back to the load port on your solar charge controller. Or, depending on your specific setup, if you happen to be using an MPPT controller, you might actually be instructed to wire them directly to the battery itself. The key takeaway to complete Rule 1 safely is ensuring you have direct, unbroken lines from the appliance all the way back to the power source.
All right, moving on to Section 3. Rule 2. Copper is king. I really cannot stress this warning enough. Never use silver wire, and absolutely avoid thin, bargain bin materials. When it comes to DC solar wiring, high-quality copper is completely non-negotiable. Using inferior metals or flimsy wires is going to completely compromise your entire system. It creates so much resistance that it literally chokes off the power before it ever reaches your devices.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows it's not just about using copper, it's about using the exact right thickness based on the appliance you're powering. For your basic LED bulbs, a 2mm wire is your standard requirement. But if you step up to a fan, whether that's a strict DC model or a hybrid AC-DC model, you absolutely must bump that gauge up to a thicker 4mm wire.
Let's really emphasize that 4mm requirement for a second. Fans draw a much heavier, sustained electrical load than a simple light bulb. If you try to skimp and use a 2mm wire for a fan, the resistance in that thinner wire is going to cause a severe voltage drop. The result? Your fan rotates sluggishly, providing barely enough air to cool a mouse, all while putting damaging strain on the motor. Stepping up to 4mm ensures the power flows exactly as intended.
But hey, amidst all these strict rules about wire gauges and dedicated direct runs, our source material offers a really fantastic piece of good news regarding hardware compatibility. While the specific wire you use matters immensely, you don't need to go out and buy specialized, expensive DC-only wall switches or light sockets. The standard AC holders, switches, and sockets that you already know and probably already have access to are perfectly safe and entirely compatible to use with your new DC connections, so that's a huge relief.
Let's move on to Section 4. Rule 3. Centralize your hub.
We call this the corner mistake. You know, a lot of beginners naturally want to tuck their heavy battery and charge controller out of the way. They'll hide it in a far corner room or a distant shed at the very edge of the property. But the guide warns that this is a super costly trap. Why? Because placing the power source at the extreme edge forces you to run incredibly long wires all the way to the other side of your house just to power your appliances. In DC systems, long wire runs equal massive ampere loss. Plus, remember that high-quality 4mm copper we just discussed? Buying huge spools of it just across your whole house will cause your wire costs to completely skyrocket.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Instead of the corner, use the midpoint strategy, treating your central hub as the literal beating heart of the house. Here is how it works. Step 1. Identify the exact center of your home's layout. Step 2. Install your heavy battery and charge controller right in this centralized location. Step 3. Run the shortest possible wires radiating outward to every room, the kitchen, and the garage. By centralizing the hub, you drastically slash the distance your power has to travel. This saves you an absolute fortune on copper wire and virtually eliminates system energy loss.
And finally, Section 5. Powering your solar future.
So the crucial point is this. To build a robust system that actually delivers full power, you need to stick to this solar survival guide. First, individual copper wiring, meaning dedicated positive and negative pairs directly back to the source for every single appliance. Second, precise gauge sizes, sticking strictly to 2mm for your bulbs and 4mm for your fans. And third, centralized equipment placement to keep those copper runs as short and brutally efficient as possible.
To send you off, I want to read out this incredibly empowering quote straight from the source text. By adhering to these 3 rules, you can ensure a clean, high-performing DC installation. It really is that straightforward. You know, you don't need a degree in electrical engineering to pull this off. You just need structural discipline, the right copper materials, and a deep respect for how DC power actually flows through a home. You now possess the ultimate blueprint to avoid the nightmare scenarios and build a truly efficient, customized off-grid setup. You know how to bypass the traps, pick the right copper gauges, and intelligently map out your home's central power hub. Your solar future is entirely in your hands. So, I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. Now that you know the rules, which room will you power up first?